I'm Dr. Julia Craner Cooper, and welcome to Connect with Mary for Mental Health and Well-Being. Today we have Jessi Holden, a registered dietitian, here in the studio with us to talk with us about nutrition and well-being. After we hear from Jessi, we're going to come back and practice what we've learned and also answer some questions and have some discussion.
My name is Jessi Holden. I'm a registered dietitian at Mary Free Bed, and I've been here for 5 years and a dietitian for 8 years. And my passion is helping people enjoy food, live healthfully in ways that feel livable and doable to them. So I love taking what they're already doing and help them explore new options and find sustainable ways to make those into habits. What we're going to talk about today is mindful eating and the mindful eating plate in particular. So there are 5 food groups, if you will, to mindful eating. One is awareness. What it means is to bring food to awareness when how it tastes in your mouth. And I know that sounds a little interesting, like, well, I don't spend that much time thinking about what I eat, but when you're chewing it and when you're eating it, actually like pausing and saying, hey, I'm eating right now. Becoming aware of it actually helps to prevent the mindless eating that we all do. It's very easy to mindlessly eat, whether we're eating in front of the TV or eating while we're on our phone or at work, at our desk. It's very easy just to eat and not even to be aware of what we put in our mouth. So taking that pause and being aware of what's coming in. That's one piece of the plate. The next part of the plate is savor. So what that means is to bring in all the other senses. So bring in taste, bring in texture, bring in smell, and talk about the food. Again, it's kind of interesting. We don't take time to think about how the food tastes to us and smells and what all that means. So really savoring it and asking yourself, is it crunchy? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it an umami flavor? What is it that's going on inside your mouth when you're eating? And what else is happening when you're smelling the food? Does it provoke a certain memory? Does it bring you joy, or does it not? That could be a sign that we need to make some tweaks with what you're eating. The next section is observe. So this one we want to take a look at our plate and not just bring awareness to it, but now we want to take a look into our stomach and our body and ask ourselves, what do I observe that's happening in my body right now? Am I hungry? Is my stomach growling? Do I feel full? Do I feel empty? Do I feel stressed? Do I feel rushed? What is physically happening in the body and how is it responding to the food? I think responding to the fullness is a little bit harder than responding to hunger. A lot of us know what our hunger cues feel like. It's hard to know what our fullness cues feel like. And that's because it takes quite a long time for our body, our gut, and our brain to connect on what those two are. So when you feel full, it actually takes about 10 to 15 minutes after you've eaten to really be able to assess that. And usually by that point, we are done with the meal, moved on doing dishes. We have already had seconds and maybe thirds. And truthfully, there's nothing wrong with eating seconds and thirds. It's just we're always in such a rush that we're not able to take the time to connect with the food, connect with our body, and bring the two together harmoniously. The next part of the plate is to be in the moment. So this is where you want to try to shut off electronics. We want to turn off the TV. Because we said that earlier, it kind of can trigger those mindlessly eating episodes. And so every once in a while, maybe not every single meal and snack, try to sit down and try to not have distractions. Try to not have technology involved because you think you can multitask. You think you can really focus on what you're eating, how your body feels, how it tastes, and watch your favorite TV show. And it's just really hard for the brain to do all of that. So maybe take a couple meals throughout the week or even just one to begin with and have no devices. Have silence, light a candle, set the scene, make it enjoyable. But this can really help you get, again, in tune with how it feels to eat, how you're feeling nourished or not nourished. Are you even tasting the food, and what does that look like for you? So again, doesn't have to be every single meal or snack. We just want to try to have some of those experiences here and there and then see what they change for you. The last section is my favorite, and that's why I've saved it for last, and it is the non-judgmental slice of the pie here. So we want to not judge ourselves for our food. We judge ourselves so easily. It's very normal. And we say things like, oh, I was so bad, I ate this, or oh, I was so good today, I ate this. And placing that judgment on food, whether good or bad, really just makes us judge ourselves and makes any kind of nutrition change very hard to sustain if you're constantly in this moral judgment of good versus bad. We also are quite harsh on ourselves. You know, we are our own inner bullies. We tend to talk really negatively to ourselves, and we do that especially around our food choices. So next time you sit down to eat, even just start with saying something kind to yourself. I'm about to enjoy this meal. I deserve this meal, not I should eat this or I shouldn't eat that or I should work out later. You know, those things just provoke a lot of feelings of guilt, and they take away from you being able to enjoy your food. And again, that's what I said with mindless or mindful eating in general. We want to enjoy our food. We want to embrace all that food can do for us and nourish us and provide pleasure and things like that. And I think it's a little bit easier if you can take even just one slice of this plate and apply it to yourself today.
Welcome back. That's such useful information and timely too, because March is National Nutrition Month, and today also happens to be National Registered Dietitian Day. So we're excited to welcome you, Jessi, to the studio today. Happy Registered Dietitian Day.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
That's great. Well, thank you for that helpful presentation about how we can eat more mindfully. You know, a lot of people I think might be wondering how to get started with doing something like this.
Yeah, so we have a little exercise for you today that you can try right now. If you want to grab maybe a raisin or dried fruit if you have that, or a piece of chocolate, really any kind of food will do. The first thing you're going to do is just take that piece of food and put it in your hand. You're going to look at it. You're going to observe it, and you're going to shine it into different lights and move it around and really take in what it looks like. Next, you're going to pick it up. You're going to smell it, and eventually you're going to put it in your mouth, and don't chew and swallow just yet. Just notice the textures, just notice the flavor. Take it in with all of your senses and take your time. Next, you're going to start to slowly chew on that food, whatever you chose, and just really experience the action of chewing. Now, I know that does sound a little silly, and maybe that's not how we eat typically, but trying it out in this way and slowing down can help you connect more with the mind and the body to enjoy that food fully and to intentionally be present while you're eating it. So as you chew, make sure you really savor every flavor you're getting. Try to identify those flavors. And then as you begin to swallow, intentionally swallow, think about the act of it going from your mouth to your esophagus to your stomach. And then congratulate yourself because you just started a little bit of mindful eating.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when we talk about either practicing mindfulness or changing eating habits, one of the things that comes up is really time. People feel like I don't really have time to do this. What can people do to try to integrate this into their lives?
Yep, so I think a misconception with mindful eating is that you have to always have lots and lots of time. And I think all of us would love more time to eat. Sometimes we're just in such a rush, or life just keeps us really busy and on our feet. So even if you can, during a meal or a snack, have one mindful bite, that's a great place to start to just slow down and really think about that one bite. And that might be all you get, and that's okay. There's no need for it to be an all or nothing thing, like I either eat mindfully or I eat mindlessly. It doesn't have to be one or the other. We can really try to find that gray space if we just allow ourselves to experience a more mindful eating approach when we're able to. When it feels good to you, that's the time to try it out.
Okay, I love that suggestion. I know for myself it seems like trying to eat an entire meal mindfully might take kind of a long time, but I love the goal of maybe a first bite or a mindful bite, or maybe a mindful sip of coffee or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
Always want to take our time and just, like she said, one bite at a time, one sip at a time, anything to just slow that down. Another suggestion you can always try if you want to make a full meal be a little bit more mindful is to actually time yourself. How long does it typically take you to eat, say, a dinner? Say it takes you 4 minutes, which it probably took you longer to make it. So the next time you eat a dinner, try to make it take 5 minutes. Try to extend that to 6 minutes. Put the fork down in between bites and just try to intentionally slow down. It will feel awkward at first because it's not your normal. So be kind to yourself, take your time, and see how long you can stretch that meal out, or even just that one bite or sip.
Now, when we think about mindful eating, and we're also talking about nutrition and health and well-being, is mindful eating something we should do for healthy foods, or what kinds of foods can we eat mindfully?
That's such a good question, and truthfully, any food can be eaten mindfully. So it doesn't have to be just those categories of healthy or not healthy. We often put foods into those, into like a good or bad food. And really my philosophy as a dietitian is that there are no good and bad foods. When we start to put food in that category, it's actually a lot harder to eat foods mindfully because our mind has already thought about the food as good for us or bad for us. And when we judge food like that, we actually do start to internalize that and judge ourselves as being a bad person because we ate something we think is bad, or hey, I did good today because I ate something good. Mindful eating can include any kind of food so that you just are more present with the food. It can help you slow down and enjoy it more, whether it is something that's maybe more decadent, or really experience that full salad if that's what you're enjoying and all the crunchiness and the vegetables. That can help you connect to the feeling of eating something that, yes, has more nutrients than something that maybe has more added sugar, and that's okay too. It's just a matter of getting connected and feeling the difference.
Great. Is this something that people could integrate their kids or family members in, and how could somebody do that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and I always recommend you get your family and kiddos involved in mindful eating. So a great way to do that is to help them learn about food and not put food on that pedestal. So don't put food saying like, well, you have to finish this in order to eat this. That can create a bit of an unhealthy relationship with food. Instead of just saying, well, eat the broccoli, it's so good for you, they start to associate that as, okay, I have to do this, it's good for me, so this food must be bad for me if that's the prize. It's interesting, but we do start to internalize it that way. So a way around that is to talk about the nutrients in food. That's an easy Google. Google what vitamins are in broccoli, and you can let a kiddo know, like, hey, eating broccoli helps your blood flow into your body. You know, they're not gonna get maybe all the intricacies of the chemistry of food and how that reacts in our body. But take even carrots, for example. Tell a kid that, hey, these help you see in the dark. That's a lot more exciting, and they might be more mindful and present eating those or enjoy them more because they're understanding, hey, this does something for my body. It's not just good or bad for me. So that's one way to do it. You can also try new foods with families. Put the new food on the plate and talk about the texture, like, ooh, that skin looks bumpy, or let's see who can crunch this carrot the loudest. Talk about the texture, the sound, the taste, the flavor, everything about it.
No, those are great suggestions. Now, a lot of people have been dealing with an especially high level of stress lately with this ongoing pandemic and other things that are going on. Any other tips or advice for people for eating mindfully, or just in terms of nutrition when they're having an especially stressful time like this?
Definitely. So I have a couple of tips for that. Number one is to be so kind to yourselves, not just now, but always, but especially right now. There's still a lot of stress in the world. We're all still going through many changes from last year and the start of the pandemic. So be kind to yourself. It doesn't have to be perfection when it comes to eating or your nutrition. It matters overall in that big picture. My other suggestion is just to work on the thoughts around food. If we continue to say things like, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't be doing this, why am I stuck here at the fridge again, or why am I in the kitchen? those shoulds and those whys, those tend to keep us stuck in that loop of guilt where we shouldn't eat this, and then we feel guilty because we do end up eating it, and then we say, okay, I'll never eat it again, and we just get stuck in that cycle. So one way out of that is to just start practicing listening into your own self-talk. If you hear those shoulds or shouldn'ts, listen in and try to respond a little differently. Try to approach yourself kindly and say, wow, I'm in the kitchen again. Am I hungry? What's going on? When was the last time I ate? What is it that I'm really wanting right now? We all eat out of stress and emotions. That's very normal. It doesn't have to be something you completely eliminate from your life. Eating can be a way of coping. We just want to make sure we're approaching life and getting other coping mechanisms too, so that you're not just relying on that one mechanism. But just know that it's normal, and to be so kind to yourself.
Thank you. I really like thinking about this idea of harm reduction, of that things might not be perfect, or we might not get to that ideal goal, but if we can take some steps or do something, then we're still going to be really better off than if we didn't at all.
Absolutely. I mean, one step at a time, 1 inch closer to what you want your healthy lifestyle to be. And I think that's an important thing to note, is that your healthy lifestyle is yours as an individual. Nobody can tell you exactly what that's got to look like, or give you a cookie cutter plan. And if they are doing that, you might want to seek another opinion. I think that's important to approach things as an individual, and to just work on slow, easy steps to take forward. If you've got a goal in mind, cut that goal in half, cut that goal in half, and work on steps to get to there, so that it feels more livable and doable and sustainable. If you're starting something, or you're trying to do something different with the way you're eating, and you're set it up and it's like, this feels impossible to maintain right now while I'm making the change, it's going to be that much harder to maintain in the future. So we really want to try to cut those goals down, think about long-term commitment to changing your nutritional lifestyle.
Thank you. I think it's so important to think about setting realistic goals, and that's something I encourage people to, is start with a goal that you're going to be successful with, because then you have the experience of, I made this change and it worked and I had some success, and then you're building on that, rather than setting a goal that's not realistic, it's too high, and then not being able to be successful, and then feeling discouraged.
Exactly, and that discouragement is going to keep us trapped into that loop of, I'll never hit those goals, I'll never make these changes, those mindsets, that negative thinking that just kind of sucks us into that downward spiral. So what I encourage people to do is work on what can help them with an upward spiral. What little thing at the bottom of our upward spiral helps you feel like you were successful and you accomplished something that day? Maybe it is just take some deep breaths in the morning, or maybe it's eat 1 piece of fruit per day. It doesn't have to be, okay, I'm switching my whole lifestyle, I'm eating all these new things, and I'm totally going to do this for the rest of my life. No, I'm not. We want to make it doable. So start so small, like she said, and just make it one little thing at a time, and set that goal and cut it in half and cut it in half, so that it feels like you get that accomplishment factor. You start getting that ripple effect of, if I can do this, like, what else can I do? I could maybe do this. Yeah, I could see myself doing this, and you can kind of go from there.
That's excellent. Yeah, I like to think about things. Well, we talk about problems as being like a vicious cycle, and how we get stuck. So I love the idea of an upward spiral, things that are going to set us up for more success and to feel more positively.
I think that upward spiral just it's a good visual. I mean, just imagine a literal tornado going up, right? And think about the small things you can do at the bottom up into the bigger tasks, like perhaps taking a walk outside feels really doable to you. Have that on a list of what you could do when you're feeling like you're in that downward spiral. Do those easy things first, and then go to those next steps. Maybe the next one is create a new healthy meal at home, but maybe that doesn't feel doable right now, so stick with your basic meals that you typically do. When you feel like you're hitting that upward stride, then build upon that next goal and those next steps you want to take. So I love the upward spiral too. I think it's a good visual. I think it helps us see things a little bit differently, but I think it's also good to know that we're all going to have lapses. We're all going to have things that happen in life, cause stress, emotional responses to all kinds of things, and they can suck us down. It's normal. We just want to find ways to get back into the upward spiral a little bit more easily.
Great, thank you. That's so helpful. Well, this has been, I think, really inspirational. I know I have some ideas that I can take with me today. I'm wondering if you have any tips for our viewers, or maybe what some of your favorite snacks are.
Oh, sure. Since it is National Dietitian Day, I do get this question all the time. What are some of those snack options? So I could say the very classic apples and peanut butter, but actually my favorite is carrots and peanut butter. So I'm going to go with that one first. Granola bars make a great travel granola if you don't want to buy separate granola. So break that up, crumble that over a Greek yogurt. That's going to get a lot more protein than your regular yogurt. Both are fine. If you want a little protein boost, go for the Greek yogurt. You could also pack up raw zucchini sliced and dip that into hummus. That's another easy to pack snack. And trail mix. That's going to be one of my favorites. Get a little sweet, salty, protein, fat, good to go.
All right, excellent. Thanks. I think I might do some grocery shopping later.
Awesome, me too.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Please join us next month for another discussion of mindfulness, and this time we'll be talking about mindfulness-based stress reduction strategies. We'll see you then.